portion here. So he goes again into this lyric, I'm the drunken-hearted man, my life seems so misery. And again, it's going over the same concepts that we talked about earlier in this G shape. Once again, he's going back to the 4 chord. That's something that you learned earlier, but in this case, he's going to extend it a little bit more, which is all. He's just extending it a little bit more. So he starts off this verse, you know, I'll take it from that spot like this. When he starts that lyric, I'm thee, he's still in that chord. I'm the drunken-hearted man, my life seems so misery. And we'll go over that part here too. So it starts off, I'm the drunken-hearted man, my life seems so misery. So I'm the drunken-hearted man, my life seems so misery. And so again, it's this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Plays it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Playing that verse over, and then we'll go over that next part, but again, retouching on the same concepts what I talked about earlier. But in this case, we'll start, I guess, real slow again. I'm the drunken-hearted man, my life seems so misery. I'm the drunken-hearted man, my life seems so misery. And again, you'll just have to, I explained it pretty thoroughly in the first go around, but in this time you're just playing it twice. In the, you know, in the original first verse it was just once. Now you're playing it twice. And that's all it is. That's the difference. But learn it well, because this is going to appear throughout the song and also in Malted Milk. That's why it's important to get this and be familiar with that. So I'll again play it from that chord again. I'm the drunken-hearted man, my life seems so misery. Oh, let me try that again. I'm the drunken-hearted man, my life seems so misery. A little bit difficult there. So I'm the drunken-hearted man, I'm the drunken-hearted man, my life seems so misery. A bit difficult, but you will get a hang of it. And I already touched on that concept earlier. So again, when you have this bass note ringing, What he's gonna do next is he's gonna do this. And again, he's like we did in the first part. There's I'm the drunk and hearted man. Except in this case, he's going to be staying on the 5th and 7th fret, so he'll jump into it like this. And notice what he's going to be doing here. My thumb now, my thumb is going to be plugging away at the top string, and my index finger is going to be playing the 1st and 2nd strings upstrokes like this together. So when you put it all together, it's something like this. Now this variation, you can do it like this. Plays that about, I don't know, say 8 times, 7 to 8 times. And we'll go over that, but before we get into that chord, he jumps, he licks into there, and what you can do is go back from this 5th and 7th fret to the 4th and 6th fret. Like that, or you can just do this. Either way, it's up to you. So he plays that about 8 to 7 times. Or and in playing that in about 8 to 7 times, what he's gonna do, he's gonna do a pull off. He's gonna go all the way to the 2nd and 4th fret again, and he's gonna play a D chord upstroke. 1, 2, and upstroke, then a downstroke. 1, 2, and all together you're going to pan out like this. So over that slow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And in that part, it goes from the 5th. Let me formulate it again better. 5th and 7th fret, pull on to the 2nd and 4th fret, then you play a D position, pick up with the index finger, and then play a down stroke over the D chord again. So it's 3 sequences. 1, D, and then end with the D chord. So there's pull on, uptick, and downstroke. 1, 2. You play that upstroke just lightly and then cap it off with the D chord. And he plays it in one version of Drunken Hearted Man. In the second take, or the first take, he doesn't even play that. He just goes into this sequence. My life seems so misery, and if I dream my way of living, you know, that's in that other part. But in this version, he plays that. Then he goes into that portion just for very briefly. But there are distinct differences between both versions of Drunken Hearted Man. But that's going to appear quite a bit. So we end on that D chord, and then in this next portion, we're going to analyze this. And now he's playing this kind of what we're seeing in the G chord. He's doing it with the D chord. It's kind of the same formulation, kind of the same cadence, except that now he's doing it in the D chord, and we're going to discuss that here. And again, it's also a little bit tricky, but once you get it down, you'll get this loop going, and it's going to come easily. So, in order to do this, now when he plays this downstroke on the D, what he's going to do next is, let me get these notes here. He plays this downstroke on the D, and now what he's going to do is your thumb is going to play two notes. This is going to be the sequence. That's what we're going to play here. So what you're going to do in this sequence, which is basically 4 notes, this is only going to be 4 notes, you're going to play with your thumb. These first 2 notes you're going to play with downstrokes with your thumb, and you're going to locate the 3rd string on the 2nd fret, 3rd string on the 2nd fret, then you're going to play the next note with your ring finger. You're going to play the 4th fret 3rd string. So it'll be like this: 1, 2, and that's being played with the thumb, downstrokes. 1, 2, 1, 2, and this 3rd note is going to be basically half of a D chord, and it's going to be your your index finger is going to be on the 1st string, 2nd fret. Your middle finger is going to be on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. Basically, it's a half of a D chord. And that's going to make up the 3rd portion of the sequence. So it'll be like this: 1, 2, and again, your thumb is going to be play that downstroke of that chord. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So you play like that, and then the next sequence is going to be this picking up on the 5th fret bottom string. So it'll be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. It's basically thumb, thumb, downstroke, and then pick up with the index finger on the bottom string. And he'll play that sequence twice. So we'll go slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. then together it'll be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Kind of nice when you get the ring of it, and the way that it follows up, it will be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and you keep going. You know, fairly easy, but again, it's that interplay that's what I was talking about. Going from this lick, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So, and that's pretty important. In the first Drunken Hearted Man, the other take, he just goes right to that. And he plays that 4 times. In this portion, he starts off, half of that verse will be like, and so forth. So in this next portion, we're going to go over these, basically the 5 chord, the outro, or the last turnaround, which goes like this. And if I change my way of living, it would surely mean the world to me. And we're going to go over that, which is, it's a little bit complicated. And what that's doing is involving all of the chords together. So again, the A7 is reappearing, and then there's a new dynamic that's stretched into there. It is the turnaround, and it's going to be incorporating a B chord in a diminished chord into the mix, and it's going to combine all of the things that we've learned. So in this turnaround, it's going to be a little bit more dynamic and a little bit difficult, but again, it's bringing all of the concepts that we've already learned so far, is this kind of repetitions that we're doing in the right hand, and coordinating 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, this playing out these individual strings and fragmentations of chords. So let's take a little break before we get into the outro, and then we'll keep going from there.